I want to end with a quote. This is from Chief Seattle, asked if he would sell some of his people's land. How can you buy or sell the sky, the warmth of the land? The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? We don't own them. Every part of this earth is sacred to our people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every humming insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. This beautiful earth is the mother of the red man. We are part of the earth and it is part of us. The rivers are our brothers. We give the rivers our kindness, and we give the rivers our kindness we would give to any brother. But the white man does not understand our ways. He is a stranger who takes from the earth whatever he needs. The earth is not his brother, but his enemy. And when he has conquered it, he moves on. He kidnaps the earth from his children, and he does not care. Our ways are different from your ways. I want to say thank you to everyone for coming. And I think we can create a difference. There are two movies if you want to find out more information on this. There's a movie called Flow and a movie called Blue Gold Water Wars. You can watch them both on YouTube. And that's it. So, questions?
I do have a question.
Is it still recording?
Sure. You cover all these different products that use water, like that water is used in the creation of a product, like a cell phone or a car, or even plastic water bottles. But that water is used locally, isn't it, right? And then this goes back into that local water cycle. So it's not. That's a clarification thing.
Well, a lot of times the problem with that is it goes back into the local water cycle polluted. That's the issue. I didn't get into. I spent too much time on the first part. If you want to talk about the creation of cars and cell phones and stuff like that, it's a lot more complicated, especially with cars, because you can take a car and you can pick the different pieces from the car, and they're produced in different places in the world. Like the tires might be made in the Philippines, and the windshield might be made in Vietnam, and the engine's made in Germany. But if you take something much more simple, like fruits and vegetables, it's very easy to see how the water gets polluted. There are studies done in the United States that show the tap water is polluted with this stuff called azetrine. And I've got some information on azetrine, but I won't talk about it right now. We can talk about it later. But it's like anything that we create that water touches, a little bit is going to get into that water, because water is a solvent. It's the most basic solvent. Not very much of it's going to get into the water, but it will. And a lot of times that water then is not, sometimes in some places, that's why people won't drink the water in Taiwan, right, from the tap, because they think it's contaminated.
I wanted to ask about weather patterns and whether water is moved from one part of the world to the other in the sky through clouds.
Oh, it is.
So therefore you don't have, why is there such a worry? Only use local water? What about local water going back into the atmosphere and going around the inside of the world?
It does. I mean, there are the large cycles that do move that water around, but all you have to do, well, I think one of the issues is if we're taking water out of the aquifers and out of the water table itself, then you become dependent on rivers and lakes and or glaciers. The glaciers are all melting, then the rivers stop flowing, and so do the lakes stop being there. The issue is it's been shown in countries like India and in the United States that if, say, a company like Coca-Cola goes in and drills into the water table and starts pulling out a lot of water, and then say sends those products, the bottled water in the United States could go from one side of the United States to the other side of the United States, where the Coca-Cola in India could go to Pakistan, or who knows, it goes to Sri Lanka, or it goes to another part of India even. Then the farmers downstream don't have any water to grow their food.
Like small ecosystems are dependent on a certain amount of precipitation, and there's ecosystems that are extremely small. And if the water is taken from the ecosystem, the less evaporating that local ecosystem, it seems like water now is going to change the vegetation.
Yeah, in Taiwan it's not such a big issue because it's a small island surrounded by water, but if you take a really big place like the United States or China or India, it can happen very fast.
Seriously, I just wanted to conclude. So you're saying to fight that, we just should stop buying big corporate?
Just buy local. Just buy local. I mean, I would say buy as few products from as farther away as possible. I still battle with myself. I buy like onions, red onions from the United States because I love the taste of red onions. But every time I do that, it's taking a little bit of water out of that cycle. Especially like, if you think about, okay, this water is moving around the earth in the giant cycle. It doesn't do it every day. It can take months or years even for when you take some of the water out of an aquifer in the United States, if that's traveling around the earth, to come back to the same place and rain down with a drop of water.
I just wanted to ask about the water supply in Taiwan. You said it all comes from a dam. So
that's where the biggest reservoir is.
There are three dams. There are three, I think. There are three.
So where's the water? I know in Shenzhen it comes from the mountains, right?
Right.
They have like their own water, which is really great. But so they have like a reservoir, like one place for...
There are three reservoirs. There's a reservoir that feeds North Taiwan, a reservoir that feeds Central Taiwan, a reservoir that feeds Southern Taiwan. I don't know about Hualien and Taidong, places on the East Coast. I'm not sure. I think these three major reservoirs give water to the industry, agriculture, and drinking water for... Yeah, the north one is called I can't remember. The Xinbei Dam. I can't remember what it's called. It's Xinbei City.
Yeah, I have something really quick about, you were mentioning South America, how there's Guyana is making the water public. It's quite simple for a country that's tropical to do that. And there's no political issues because everyone's going to have enough water. But when the government needs to have a private, because if there's not enough water to supply what everyone with, and bombs are created and whatnot, people fight for the water. So obviously, there are certain circumstances where naturally water control will become part of the government. But that's in a dry place. I can understand why. But in a place like that, I could understand why it'd be public. You know what I mean? I don't think it's possible everywhere
To have public water everywhere. I think, though, at least from the people that I was studying and watching, what they've been finding is everywhere where the private water does go, you find that the people who have enough money, the affluent people, they're fine. It's not an issue for them, really, with the people who have a lot of money. It's not an issue for them whether water is private or public because they can pay for it either way. But for the poorest of poor people, the only thing that changes for the poorest of poor when water goes from... When water was public, okay, well, the people might have to walk a couple kilometers to get water and then whatever, boil it and drink it themselves. I mean, they might not have any access to water at all, right? So they might have to go get it themselves from some well or something like that. But then when water becomes, so that's when it's public, when water becomes private, the only thing that changes for them is that the company comes and builds a water line in front of their house, and a tap, and says, okay, if you want this water, it's going to cost you this much money. But these people are like, well, wait, hold on, that's half the money I make in a year. I can't pay that.
Couldn't they take that same well?
They still, but then they go back down to the same well. So for the poor people, nothing changes when water becomes
Also, like back
private.
in Bolivia, I heard there's a big water revolt. Do you know about?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
In Bolivia, there have been lots of great places where a lot of good things are happening.
Yeah, they just very quickly